intellectual Islamic heritage of the Muslim world, seen through the eyes of the youth. I'd like to give a very few information about the ICYF activities, and precisely this activity is also is one of the project that has been approved by the Council of Foreign Ministers of OIC. In the 46th session, it welcomed the implementation of this initiative by ICYF. And due to the coronaviruses, we started several online phases for our projects, and we started to open a session of this initiative as well as
Benim bir dakika ihtiyacım var ama.
From the online platforms. And now I would like to give today's brief agenda to you. Today we're going to start with the speech of the Mr. Taha Ayhan, the ICYF President. He will going to make the opening remarks, and we're going to host two important guests from our, I can call it sister organizations from the other institutions of the OIC. Professor Sadık Ünay, who is the senior advisor to the Director General of the IRCICA. And also, we're going to have the privilege to listen to the lecture of the Dr. Osama Elnahas, who is the Heritage Program Specialist as the ICESCO, Islamic World Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. And I'd like to explain a little bit our modality of today's session, in which you will going to have the opportunity to write the question and answers to all speakers, and you can direct questions directly to one of the speaker, or you can ask a general question and which will be directed by us to the esteemed speakers, esteemed panelists. And please, for the whole session, please submit the questions through the question and answer link at your Zoom menu. And I'm so sorry. And we'll collect these questions and we'll ask them at the end of the panel sessions about this important initiative. And first, I'd like to give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Taha Ayhan, ICYF President, to deliver his opening remarks at the opening session of the Intellectual Islamic Heritage of the Muslim World, seen through the eyes of the youth. Yes, Mr. President, floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello?
Yes, Mr. President, we are hearing you very well.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to begin my statement by welcoming and thanking you all for joining us at the online opening session of Intellectual Islamic Heritage, seen through the eyes of youth webinar series. It's a great honor to host two distinguished guests with us today. Dr. Sadık Ünay, consultant to the Director General of Research Center for Islamic History, Art and Culture, IRCICA, and Dr. Osama Elnahas from the ICESCO, who is the Heritage Program expert in ICESCO. Today, we are living a global pandemic that spread to all corners of the world, sending billions of people into lockdown. We at ICYF decided to go and continue with our mission for the well-being of the youth. From this point, ICYF is launching the online webinars for intellectual Islamic heritage under the motto of "Seen through the eyes of youth." The Intellectual Islamic Heritage Project seeks to revive the lost Islamic heritage and intellectual contributions of Islamic civilization to the world, and to re-educate youth on their Islamic heritage and identity, the great civilizations that reigned before them, and the Herculean efforts and contributions of Islamic scholars and artists, men and women of knowledge and intellectual heritage. Ladies and gentlemen, Islam and civilization are intertwining, and this is the strong reason to preserve the Islamic heritage with a great emphasis on intangible heritage. Islamic heritage serves an Islamic past, and we need to pass this heritage through the generations and helps them to discover the golden age of Islamic civilization. Islam is the mirror of invisible different fields such as science, art, and culture. We gather here today to start our journey in an effort to better understand the richness of heritage in Islam. Youth are leaders of tomorrow, and this is the reasons that we choose this program to be seen through the eyes of youth. The program aims to promote youth awareness about Muslim intellectual contributions to science, cultural exchange, and to the development of global civilizations. Encourage youth to approach their past heritage of science, culture, and civilization in a much more positive fashion. Support youth to adopt the pioneering examples of Muslim scientists and inventors as positive role models in science and technology. Help youth realize the need for scientific and technological creativity, innovation for the better interest of communities, societies, and the world. Strengthen the identity of youth, especially with regards to internationalize the values of Muslim heritage, culture, dialogue, and community engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, over the recent years, the world has witnessed the slow death of Islamic heritage due to the colonization. Even the majority of the education systems in Muslim countries have been replaced with Western ones that give no attention to Islamic heritage. The modern world we live in these days is globalized, interconnected, ever-changing, and very relative. Our youth grow up unaware of the rich Islamic culture and developments of the past that have led to many significant technological developments of today. Especially the youth who grow up in non-Muslim societies have been alienated from the cultural and intellectual past of regions from which their families originate. Therefore, it's our responsibility to encourage discussion and inject curiosity into the minds of youth about our Islamic heritage. We aim to offer our youth with opportunities and resources that will allow them to grow to their full potential and that will strengthen their identities as Muslims. As an institution, ICYF believes in the empowerment of youth. This program will shed light on the Islamic heritage and attempt to educate youth and the public about Islamic culture. These sessions will be presented to you by expertise and scholars to allow youth to become involved in activities that encourage and enhance their collective growth and understanding of the forgotten Islamic heritage. We look forward to seeing the fruits of this program in the eyes of our youth and continue their mission to explore their Islamic history that is inherited from ancestors and passed on to descendants. And I also want to express my thanks again for their participation to two distinguished institutions who are leading institutions on their field, the IRCICA and ICESCO, and their esteemed representatives for participating and strengthening our program. Once again, I kindly thank you all for your participation and attention. Esselamu Aleyküm ve Rahmetullahi ve Berekatuhu.
Alaikum assalam, Mr. President. Thank you very much for your contribution. As Mr. President highlights, this initiative we are now at the opening session of the intellectual Islamic heritage of the Muslim world, seen through the eyes of the youth series, and we are quite excited to start a new endeavor here. And before giving floor to our esteemed panelists, I want to give the very few topics that we're going to cover through all of this online series, which will consist of very important scientists, academicians who will contribute to these panels. In the following weeks, we're going to cover the following topics, inshallah, in this program. Contributions of Muslim scientists to the welfare of humanity, contributions of Muslim scholars to the field of health and hygiene, how did Muslims deal with epidemics, the case of Ibn Sina. Fourth week, we're going to cover Muslim scholars on disaster prevention with special attention to the COVID-19. In the fifth week, we're going to, inshallah, cover Muslim scholars' contributions in different scientific fields of science, medicine, engineering, technology, astronomy, mathematics, physics, and optics. In the 6th week, inshallah, we're going to cover Muslim contributions to architecture and art. 7th week, early history of music and performance in Muslim world, history of Muslim calligraphy, Islamic intellectual heritage in the YC regions, Muslim science, civilizations, and the Renaissance. And you can follow all of the, you will have the opportunity to follow all of these initiatives through online, through ICYF's online platforms and the technical links that will be provided by the ICYF. And you will all have the privilege to follow these outstanding programs and throughout these weeks. And now I want to give the floor to our first esteemed panelist, Mr. Sadık Ünay. Professor Ünay is a professor in international relations and senior consultant to the Director General of IRCICA, Research Center for Islamic History, Art and Culture, which is a subsidiary organ of the subsidiary institution of the OIC. Professor Ünay studied at Boğaziçi and Manchester universities and taught political economy, development, and international relations at various British and Turkish universities before joining to the Istanbul University. He is the author of Global Orders and Civilizations, Global Political Economy After the Crisis, Political Economy of Turkish Development Planning, and he has been associated with IRCICA as a senior consultant since 2016. Today, we're going to enjoy the privilege to listen his lecture on the topic of IRCICA's approach on intellectual Islamic heritage and Muslim calligraphy. And Mr. Professor Ünay, floor is yours, sir.
Astaghfirullah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, I would like to say Assalamu alaikum to all our colleagues from the Youth Forum, from ICESCO. I would like to say salam to Dr. Osama. Welcome to our meeting with our younger brothers and sisters in Islam. I would like to express my pleasure to be here with you due to the COVID-19 process, so to speak. We have to do all our meetings like this, but I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that this process goes smoothly and we all go over it in health, good health. And I would like to also congratulate the Youth Forum for starting such a valuable project on the intellectual heritage of the Muslim world. In our part, as IRCICA, we are pleased to contribute, an honor to contribute to the opening session. And I would like to thank the President of the Youth Forum, Brother Taha Ayhan, for inviting us here in the opening session. So today, I would like to try and give you a very brief sketch of what IRCICA is doing in terms of protection, preservation of Islamic cultural heritage. As you know, IRCICA stands for the Research Center for Islamic History, Art and Culture. It has been in existence in 40 years now, since 1980. So it is a very strong and historically robust institution, and it is the first subsidiary of the OIC, which was used to focus on culture. Our headquarters are based in Istanbul, and what is called as the Baba Ali, the former Prime Ministry of the Ottoman Empire, in the central city. And our Director General is Professor Halit Eren, who has been associated with the institution since its foundation in 1980, and he has been DG since 2005. I would like to give in this brief presentation the work programs of IRCICA as they relate to the topic of intellectual and cultural heritage of the Muslim world. So our main work programs include studies on the Holy Quran, Islamic history and civilization, Islamic arts, calligraphy, handicrafts, and preservation of architectural heritage. In this context, I will go one by one on each topic very briefly with just 1-2 sentences, because I think we can open them up in the question and answer session. What we do at IRCICA is, for example, concerning the historical manuscripts of the Holy Quran, we conduct projects and publish the earliest copies, manuscripts of the Holy Quran, which are found in different parts of the Islamic geography. And this is just one area of our research. We support one book hospital in Mali, Bamako, as IRCICA, in which there are historical manuscripts of the Holy Quran. They are restored and conserved as they should be available for our youth today. In the context of Islamic history and civilization, we organize academic congresses on a regional basis, and the regions include the Balkans, Caucasia, Central Asia, South Asia, all parts of Asia, the Middle East, the Mediterranean, and all parts of Africa. So we try to cover broadly all parts of the Muslim world on a regular basis. So each year we organize various conferences on each of these selected regions. So while organizing these congresses, we cooperate with local universities and research institutions. So we try to bring in the local power and talent as well. And we publish the proceedings as reference books from these congresses. So every congress pretty much produces a major reference work that could be used later on. As for the protection of Islamic architectural heritage, our architectural department was involved in many conservation projects, which included projects in Mostar, Al-Quds, Palestine, Mosul, and Aleppo. In Aleppo and Mosul, we collaborated with UNESCO as well. Also in the context of the architectural department, we organized summer schools in which students, this might be interesting for the youth here as well, the brothers and sisters who are watching us. We organized summer schools especially for students of city planning and architecture, and they go to different countries, they go to different cities and analyze the latest state of Islamic cultural heritage. We also manage the IRCICA Prince Sultan bin Salman architectural database, which is managed through IRCICA. And you can go to our website, ircica.org, and see the database for yourself. In the field of handicrafts, we are organizing large-scale congresses, workshops, and festivals in different countries in which artisans can come and show their work as they do their art and handicraft. And these include traditional artworks and handicrafts from ceramics to leather to carpet weaving, and you name it. So in the field of Islamic calligraphy, IRCICA has been very active since its foundation, and we believe that IRCICA played a leading role in terms of revitalizing the art of calligraphy since the 1980s. Every year we organize numerous training programs, workshops, seminars, exhibitions on calligraphy, especially on the sidelines of the high-level OIC meetings, but elsewhere as well, everywhere in the world, from Canada to Paris, from Saudi Arabia to Morocco, Algeria, Malaysia, Indonesia, everywhere we organize exhibitions of calligraphy and also historical photographs, because we have a historical photograph collection, which includes a rich collection of historical photographs, around 70,000 historical photographs from the Ottoman period. But I think the most spectacular activity that we do in the field of calligraphy is the IRCICA calligraphy competition, which is organized once in every 3 years since 1986. We organized 11 competitions. The last competition ended last year in 2019, and it was organized in the name of Mehmet Şevki Efendi. And we, in every competition, generally around 1,000 works of calligraphy are received by IRCICA. and they are evaluated by an international jury, and at the end, awards are given to best works. And as of the last competition, for example, we awarded a total financial reward of around $200,000 to the winning plates from the Islamic world. And many of the calligraphers, believe me, they are young, they are from the youth. So I would encourage all the brothers and sisters, the young brothers and sisters who are watching us, to follow IRCICA competitions on calligraphy and try to contribute to them. For example, in the last competition, we had entries from calligraphers, from artists from 38 different countries. So it's a big event. We also organize regional competitions on calligraphy, especially in South Asia. For example, over the last years, we organized in Singapore, Indonesia, we organized regional competitions. So you can join in to the regional competitions as well. These are the main points, and I would like to finish. I would like to give some time to Dr. Osama as well. I would like to say just that in terms of protecting and conserving Islamic cultural heritage, it is very important to conduct scholarly projects, serious projects, and to look at what do we have to begin with. I mean, to go back to the originals, to go back to the classics. So that is what we do in IRCICA. And we try to go back to the original sources, especially the Holy Quran being the best source for Muslim brothers and sisters. So we go to the earliest copies of the Holy Quran and try to bring them to daylight. And we also go to the Islamic history. Now we are preparing a 10-volume project on Islamic history and civilization, for example, in which every author, for example, contributing to that volume comes from a specific region. For example, African authors are writing on Africa, Asian authors are writing on Asia, and so on and so forth. So we are trying to produce like a regional Islamic history collection. And so we are trying to bring daylight to our Islamic accumulated knowledge and heritage. And I think programs like this that you organize in Youth Forum will be very valuable in terms of transferring that sensitivity towards our heritage and a future vision to our younger generations. I would stop here and maybe we'll continue with the Q&A session. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. Professor, thank you very much for your very insightful presentation about IRCICA's initiative, in which you mentioned that revitalizing the Islamic heritage, organizing workshops on the historical photographs, calligraphies, and competitions that is run in this context is the very important approach that is run by IRCICA on the intellectual Islamic heritage issue. And you mentioned about the opportunities for the youth that can be followed through the IRCICA, and I believe most of our participants will going to enjoy these opportunities. And also, I'd like to mention that the last year we signed His Excellency Mr. Taha Ayhan and His Excellency Taha Ayhan, Director General of IRCICA, has signed an agreement to organize this kind of activities together. And Alhamdulillah, we will going to initiate this agreement successfully. And thank you very much for your contributions, dear Professor. Thank you very much. Now, I want to switch to our second esteemed speaker, Mr. Professor Osama Elnahas. Osama Elnahas is an heritage program specialist in the Islamic World Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, ICESCO. He is also a lecturer of heritage science, archaeology and maritime and underwater archaeology in many universities. He obtained his MA and PhD degrees in maritime archaeology from the Catholic University of Leuven, Belgium in 2000 and 2009. In 2015, he had a postdoctoral fellowship in India University, USA, in the site management of underwater cultural heritage. Today, We're going to enjoy the privilege to listen the Professor Osama's lecture and presentation about the intellectual heritage in OIC region. Yes, Professor, floor is yours.
All of you for this, giving us this opportunity to be part of this forum today. Before launching to my speech, I'd like to bring you the profound fraternal greeting from Dr. Salim bin Mohammed Al-Malik, Director General of ICESCO, and who wishes you a very successful meeting and happy and pleased Ramadan, inshallah. Today, in fact, we're going to speak about how to promote and increase awareness about Muslim heritage, Muslim intellectual heritage to the global and its contribution to the global civilization. Let's start with the future, not from the past. The future, the most popular topic we are going to speak now, and the people all around the world is speaking about artificial intelligence. In fact, this artificial intelligence is completely based on algorithm. Algorithm is the word derived from our mathematician Al-Khwarizmi. Al-Khwarizmi is a Muslim. He invented algebra. He invented this algorithm. This algorithm is now the main base of artificial intelligence. So we should stress on this word. The future is built by Muslim scholars, Muslim scientists. We should convey this message to our youth. This is our heritage. It's not heritage. It's not intangible or intellectual heritage. It's the base of the future. We should speak the language of youth. We should see with their eye. We should think with their mind. So for this reason, we are here, not to speak about our heritage in a theoretical way. No, we are going to speak about our heritage in practical way. We are in Muslim countries. We should be proud of our history. We should be proud of our intellectual heritage, not be fair, not afraid, not be ashamed of our some of the youth now is going to the West. By the way, the West confessing that the Muslim scholars are the the builders of the new civilization. Through the history, we have many historians from different regions of the world consider that the Islamic intellectual heritage is a prominent manifestation of Islamic civilization and the main contributor to the modern civilization. For centuries, this heritage formed the intellectual and civilizational reference to the Europe. This rich intellectual heritage of Islamic civilization was imprinted by senior scholars from different countries in the Islamic world, not from Arab world only, no, from Islamic world, from Persia, from Turkey, from Africa, from everywhere in every spot in the Islamic world, we contribute to the global civilization. In fact, we have Al-Farabi, we have Ibn Sina, the father of the medicine. We have Al-Khwarizmi. They call him now the father of computer, Al-Khwarizmi. And I call him now the father of artificial intelligence. This is my addition. We have Al-Razi, we have Ibn al-Haytham, we have Ibn Hayyan, the chemistry, who invented ink is not removable. What the problem now is, what is the extent of our youth knowledge about these scholars, their intellectual production, and their contribution to the building of not only the Islamic civilization, but also for the human civilization. In fact, we should work together to convey this message to make our youth proud of our history. You know, it's really noticed that many of our youth in the Islamic world do not know about this history, about this legacy, about our ancestors behind this human civilization. I think in order to introduce youth to this contribution, we should think out of the box, as we say. We should think from the future, not from the past. We should give them the opportunity to express themselves, to draw the map, the roadmap for the Islamic intellectual heritage, how to use it, how to benefit from it, how to start to use this heritage to build for the future. We are not followers to the West, by the way. We are it's a turn of statement in the all history. Today we are here, tomorrow we are up. You know, this is the cycle of history. So I think it's very important that we are called upon the states, organizations, and civil society institutions in our Islamic world to work together in give the youth the position they deserve in the cultural scene in the Islamic world. And we already did this in ICESCO. ICESCO give the floor to the youth to be leader in the ICESCO, to be expert, to work as experts in ICESCO, to work everywhere in the Islamic world, even out of the Islamic world. You know, last February, we have established a center for heritage in the Islamic world. This center will be the cornerstone of the heritage in the Islamic world, not only for Islamic civilization, but the Islamic world as a whole. We are like a bot. We collecting all civilization and digested it in our pot, and we present it to the world. And this is our message. Second thing, we should produce different types of movies, like short videos, to make sure that our youth knowing at least information about their history of intellectual heritage. We should expand the circle of communication between the nation's youth. This is what we do in ICESCO. We already have planned several programs to teach, to learn how to use how to preserve, how to conserve, how to display, how to document our heritage. Not only intangible heritage, but also intangible heritage. We have also announced several initiatives, like we have, for example, in our center, heritage center, we have a center artificial intelligence unit. It is dedicated specifically to how to use artificial intelligence in heritage. We are not followers. We are leaders. We should introduce this message to our youth. We should educate our young people about the dangers of violence and extremists. We are not extremists. Some people they just give us this. They accusing us of terrorism. No, we are the builder of the civilization, and the builder of civilization as anti-extremist, anti-terrorist. We do our best to reach the world, to improve the lives of the world, and this is the message of our Quran. The first message reads. The first verse reads, Iqra. We should encourage our youth to read and to use applied sciences to work to improve their way of life. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope this will be the first lecture on this series, and hopefully, inshallah, we will enjoy together how to work together, how to open the floor to our youth to be the leader of the future. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Doctor, thank you very much. It was very inspiring speech, and specifically, I mean, your leverage to the Khwarizmi as saying that he is the father of artificial intelligence as well. It was very outstanding. I mean, thank you very much for this wise information, and also you highlight that the Islamic world's intellectual independence and our importance to give that knowledge, that understanding, and that methodology to the youth. And thank you very much, Doctor, for these important insights. And I'm as ICYF, we are always in collaboration with the ICESCO, and we are also having this important opportunity to sustain this partnership. And thank you for your also institutional support to ICYF initiative as well. And now I want to switch to the questions. We received, I think, lots of questions, and I want to start. I mean, we're going to ask from each region to receive one question, one from Asia, Africa. And I think, if I'm not wrong, we have now more than 20 countries, 25 countries are now watching us. And our first question is coming from the brotherly country, Uzbekistan. Mr. Ozatbek Botarelyov, I mean, I'm so sorry if I spell it wrong. The question is, what is expected of us from youth as far as protecting the Islamic heritage is concerned? Yeah, I mean, both of our professors mentioned the importance of protecting our heritage, and one of our brothers from Uzbekistan is the directing question: what is our job? What's our task to protect? Could you clarify? And
can I come in with this?
Of course, okay. Professor.
With your permission, Dr. Enes, Dr. Osama.
Yeah, please, of course.
Okay. What I would say in a sentence to our brother from Uzbekistan is protecting the cultural heritage, or protecting anything, starts with learning. So the first step is to learn, to read. Reading the Quran, reading the Islamic classical materials, fundamental materials, reading our history, as Dr. Osama mentioned, reading the scholars, the scientists, the mathematicians, the engineers who went before us, the architects, to learn about them, and then to look at the concrete products of what they produced, for example, and then try to protect them. And protection goes in every way of life and in every profession, I think. You can be a professional in architecture and preserve Islamic mosques and buildings, monuments, or you can protect the knowledge itself and know that this knowledge comes from Muslim scholars. As Dr. Osama mentioned, when you talk about AI, you can know that this comes from Khwarizmi, and you can say that, okay, the Islamic world has a part in this, because civilization is a cumulative process. So every society is learning from each other, and it always has been like that. And the Islamic societies have always been involved in this, and in a very much active manner. And I think in the future, we will be active as well. Just one sentence before I finish. I would like to recommend to our brothers in Uzbekistan and others as well. For example, we have online courses. We started online courses in IRCICA on calligraphy. So they can go to our webpage and watch masters of calligraphy teaching their pieces, plates online. So they can follow that. They can learn calligraphy, start to learn calligraphy online. For example, they can follow our online webinars like yourselves, like your institution. Next Monday, we are starting a series on webinar series on Islamic cultural heritage. So every Monday, we will have a webinar on these issues. So they can follow that, and they can also follow our summer schools, especially for students from OIC. They can follow our summer schools on architecture. So they can do this at least, so I would say. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sadık Ünay, for the...
May I?
Of course, Dr. Osama. Yes, please.
May I add? Yes, to the brother from Uzbekistan. Just I want to say that we are in ICESCO this year. Unfortunately, we plan to have Bukhara as the capital of Islamic of Islamic countries, of Islamic culture this year. But unfortunately, because of the COVID-19, we canceled all this, or we postponed it. But we plan to have a very impressive course, training course in Uzbekistan about the artificial intelligence in heritage, how to use artificial intelligence in documentation of the cultural heritage, how to prepare the files to be inscribed in the Islamic cultural list. We are going to do this. We already started to do this online. We have some capsules. If you can follow us in ICESCO, you will find many capsules about the use, how we teach, how we learn how to use the artificial intelligence. This is inshallah broadcasting this week. And we have also about the manuscript, about the intangible heritage, about tangible heritage, about the museums. You can follow these links, and inshallah you will be benefited greatly from our courses, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor. I mean, these gatherings is a source of opportunity for the participant youth, and I'm sure they are going to enjoy these opportunities very much. And I want to switch to the second question. It is from a sister from Pakistan, Miss Sude Sultana. What are the main things we should approach in the field of calligraphy? What is important thing to make these young calligraphists to keep practicing? So, Mr. Saad, Professor Sadık Ünay and Professor Osama, I think both of you can reply this question.
Last time I went first. Dr. Osama, would you like to go first?
No, you first. Okay.
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 On calligraphy, especially, as you know, there are different styles, different branches, and there are different masters internationally who are excelling in one of those styles. The first thing is to find a good institutional framework. As I say, as IRCICA, we are happy to collaborate with many institutions, and the sister is writing from Pakistan. Pakistan is one of the countries in which we organize maybe the highest number of exhibitions and trainings, and still we have some trainings going on in Pakistan, and they can directly, as I say, online course, they can directly follow from our website, but they can also contact IRCICA, and we can give them some of the connections in Pakistan and Islamabad, Karachi, and so on. But as I say, keeping calligraphy alive was one of the basic goals that IRCICA placed for itself in the 1980s. And alhamdulillah, calligraphy was about to be forgotten by the young generations. But today we have hundreds and hundreds of young calligraphers. So it starts with love. I mean, you need to love what you're doing. And at IRCICA, for example, our most popular festivals, most popular competitions are those that we organize in calligraphy. And the highest number of participants that we receive is in the field of calligraphy. So I urge all the brothers and sisters, I mean, to follow the links that they can find. And I can say even in Africa, for example, maybe we have brothers and sisters watching from Africa. In Nigeria, Abuja, we have a calligraphy school that we support from Istanbul, from IRCICA. And we have around, I think, 25 or 30 calligraphers, local calligraphers from around Nigeria. So we are trying to open such local training grounds as well. I mean, if there is demand, then I think something can be arranged. Thank you.
Dr. Sadık, thank you very much for your addition. This I want to add another thing. We already shooting 20 videos about manuscripts and calligraphy, and it will be very soon in our website and on our social media platform. So you can follow us also on this. We have this about the manuscripts and calligraphy. Hopefully, inshallah, we work together to increase our awareness about the history, about our intellectual history, about the manuscripts and calligraphy. This is very important. We have also several initiatives in ICESCO regarding the Quranic letters. We have several initiatives in culture. So please follow us in our links. You will find what you want. Thank you.
Thank you. And our third question is from Sudan, Mr. Ahmed Al Ubaid. The question is, the Muslim youth around the world are fed with negative images and narratives about the Islamic culture and heritage. How to provide youth with accurate knowledge about Islamic intellectual heritage? A very important question, actually. Yeah. Do you want me to repeat the Muslim
yes,
youth?
Please.
The Muslim youth around the world are fed with the negative images and narratives about the Islamic culture and heritage, how to provide youth with accurate knowledge about Islamic intellectual heritage.
As I mentioned in my speech, we should work together to educate the youth, to learn them what are the flourishing of our intellectual heritage. In fact, we should work together, all organizations working in this topic, we should work together. From my point here, from my position here, I can propose an initiative to reconstruct our scientific and intellectual heritage, to make sure that every single youth in our world, our Islamic world, know about his history and its effect on the modern sciences and modern technologies, starting from the invention of planes to robots. We should start work together. We can call for a meeting, for a protocol to work with IRCICA, with ICESCO, with OIC, with Islamic Bank, with all organizations and institutions working in this field, to work together to put a roadmap how to improve the knowledge of our youth about their history, about their intellectual heritage.
If I can say a few words, I think as everything in social science, this is about deconstruction and reconstruction. I think this whole issue of Islamophobia and prejudice against Islam or other religions as well. I think we have, I think, a big kind of baggage of colonialism, Orientalism, I mean, and hundreds of different like literary works, philosophical works, and so on. The whole intellectual atmosphere was built upon like Western superiority and so on. And so most of the Islamic societies had this colonial background. So I think there are some intellectual barriers in most of the Muslim societies in different parts of the world that we need to overcome. And we need to go back to our roots and also form linkages maybe between academic work, scholarly work, and popular culture, because popular culture is flowing through all these social media outlets and so on. And sometimes it is difficult to control. And the international system and the Western world in general, they developed different mechanisms to control the flow of ideas, images, perceptions, and so on. So they are working like a perception producing mechanisms, machines. I mean, sometimes it is difficult to counter that, but as Dr. Usama was saying, countering Islamophobia and all this stereotyping requires a collective effort between national authorities, ministries, NGOs, and international organizations, and intellectuals and civil society institutions and universities, actually to reach out to our youth and try to show them that they had the best intellectual capacity, cultural legacy in the past, and most of it is actually reproduced today. They are not part of the past. They are still alive. They are with us. I mean, so it is not like a narrative from history. Sometimes I see such a danger when it comes to history. Most of the Muslim societies go back to their like golden ages, but when it comes to contemporary world, we begin to think as like Westerners, which is a danger, I think. So here, I think we need to have like a balanced view to see our legacy, to revive what we have. In that respect, I can give you one example that we started at IRCICA. For example, now we are collecting the Naat al-Sharif, the poets written to praise our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from around the world. So this is our legacy, this is our heritage, and we are collecting the best known, well-known poets and the poems about the Prophet. And this is something that just we started in Ramadan because of the spirit of the Ramadan. And I urge the colleagues here, President Taha and Dr. Usama and all the colleagues to go to our website, and you can see Naat al-Sharif written in Arabic, English, French, from different countries. So now we are preparing a catalog of Naat al-Sharif on the Prophet. And this is something contemporary, I think, because we are the Ummah, we love the Prophet. This is not like something in remote past. I mean, this is for today. This is living with us. And we are trying to like bring this to daylight. That I think we need to work all together in this.
Thank you very much, dear professors. I mean, we are receiving thousands of questions, but I think we promised to finalize it in 1 hour, and we are running out of time. I would like to thank all of you, all the professors, for your outstanding contribution, and I'm sure that we are going to meet the next week of this session. You know, this is just the opening session, and each week we're going to cover some very important topics related with the intellectual heritage of the Muslim world. And I want to just add a little bit points. I mean, yes, all the world is suffering from the COVID-19 pandemic right now. And but this is, alhamdulillah, not stopping the OIC institutions and ICYF as well. And we have been switched to the online implementation of our very well-known projects. Today was the start of the online edition of the Intellectual Heritage Program. And now we are going to also start the volunteerism program, which will start in 18 May. And also our VIP Talks program, in which we are hosting the leading figures from the OIC member state, ministers, and top-level governmental officials to share their experience with the youth. VIP Talks program is going on, and on 15th May, we're going to host the esteemed Minister of Youth and Sports of Mali, following to the esteemed Minister of the Tunisia and the President spokesperson of the Turkish Republic. And we are now also expanding our by youth projects, which is the third Ideathon challenge, in which the youth gathers together in the online based system to collect the best experience, actions, and responses put forward by individuals and communities during the outbreak. This is an important initiative also run by ICYF. And one of the most important excitement for us is the Modulo IC Online. This will be the, first edition of organizing an diplomatic simulation at online platform. Yes, as the real world is adapting to the new circumstances of the COVID, and also the youth, the simulation part is also adapting to the new circumstances as well. And we will go on. We'll also go our entrepreneurship projects, inshallah, to the online phase as well, and we're going to announce it very soon. I'm recommending all of the participants to check the ICYF official platforms to follow up and to not lose the opportunity to be part of one of these important initiatives that is run by ICYF. And at my end of my part, I would like to thank Professor Osama Elnahas, Professor Sadık Ünay, and the dear President Taha Ayhan for their valuable contributions to the opening session of this important initiative, and hoping to meet you soon in the next editions as well, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum salam.
Thank you.